This will be a day long remembered. Now I am the master.
Welcome to another episode of Legends and Theories, and this is my review of the rest of the Arkham franchise. So, for this, I'm going to go over, in order, Arkham Origins Cold Heart, Arkham Origins Blackgate, Arkham City Harley Quinn's Revenge, and then I'm just going to do all the Arkham Knight DLC, besides maybe the Batgirl one, together, since the Batgirl one is, a little longer, and just probably similar, advantages and disadvantages to the rest of the DLCs. So, let's really go into this, and I'll start off with Arkham Origins, Cold Heart. Oh, also I'll go over the Catwoman DLC. I completely forgot to do that when I did the Arkham, the regular franchise. The only things that from the franchise that are currently out that I have not reviewed and plan to do either in the future or may never do is the movie Assault on Arkham, which is a movie I do own. I just want to watch it again, and I'll do a separate review on that, since it's a little more away from the specific Batman story, and it's a Suicide Squad story, and the Arkham VR game, and since I don't own, a gaming VR headset, I'm pretty sure if you like the ones you can put your phone in it, my house, I just don't know where they are, I am going to not probably ever go over that one, because I don't really want to buy a VR headset, which costs you a couple $100, and I would only probably play a few games on it. Because I'd play, I think, Arkham VR, Iron Man VR, Invader Immortal, because I'm pretty supposed to release on it, and I'd probably play Squadrons on it. But that's like 4 games right now, and maybe a few more. But until VR games start becoming a little bigger, a little more worth it, I'm not going to really get them. But let's go on with Cold Heart, which is definitely one of the best of these DLCs. It's a retelling of the Emmy Award-winning episode of Batman the Animated Series that is titled Heart of Ice, which is a story that reinvented Mr. Freeze. And, of course, it was a very famous episode. It won an Emmy, from what I understand. I might be mistaken, but I am like 90% sure about that. And that's why it's such a good episode. And it's a good concept for this. Retells it with it being even more extended, since this isn't a 22-minute episode of TV. It's about a 2-hour-long DLC. So you get the story even more well told, with it being probably better in almost every way besides with the voice actors, since you have Kevin Conroy, the Batman, in that, and he's just the best. So yeah, it's the only thing that the other one really has on this, since this one you get a much more in-depth story, learn more about it. You also get to play as Bruce Wayne in Wayne Manor, having to do like flawless stealth, or else you'll probably be instantly shot to death since you have no armor on, and more. I really enjoyed this storyline. I think that Cold Heart is probably one of the best ones. Honestly, I think it might be the best, because I'm thinking the other ones that definitely would compete with this, and it would maybe just be the Batgirl one. Yeah, I think that this probably is, of all the DLCs stories that you could get, that take place post-game. This is the best one. And continuing on, I'm going to go over now Arkham Origins Blackgate, which I played for the first time, and I got on sale on Steam, and as of now, that sale should still be active. I think it ends on like the 8th or 9th. So, that's like most games on Steam are on sale right now, so you should be able to go and get them, which is where I got both The Force Unleashed and Origins Blackgate. It took me about, I think, like 8 hours to beat it. It'll probably take me, a little less time in the future, since I really had no idea where you're supposed to be going or how to do some of these fights. And with Blackgate, I think the most annoying thing sometimes is the boss fights feel a little too hard, even though they're like the normal difficulty. And one of the things that's just a little annoying is sometimes it's very specific timing. The last Catwoman boss fight is kind of annoying because you have to perfectly time everything, and if you don't, you lose a bunch of health, especially in the last phase of her. The Penguin fight, although I figured it was kind of annoying. The Black Mask one is probably the easiest one. You just have to know what to do for him. Joker's pretty easy too. You just have to time things pretty well. With Penguin, if you make like one little mistake, you die instantly, because they have guys that have like machine guns and stuff, and you can't take them down, at least from what I could see. So, that's a little annoying, but also kind of annoying that you don't really have as many gadgets. And I think it's unique to have the 2.5D thing, which I'm just guessing means that you could go around corners and stuff, because I have no idea what the real difference between 2D and 2.5D is. That's my best guess, is that you could have a little bit of depth in the map and like go around corners instead of just running in like a straight line like you want in like Mario. And with the game, I think that's really what I have to say. It's an okay game. It's definitely the weakest of the franchise, and I think the most unique boss fight in it was Deadshot, where you have to basically view through his sniper scope everything. And what I've learned recently is that it's technically not even the real Deadshot. The real Deadshot is actually the one that's supposed to be in the new Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League game. And this one that we've been following recently in all these games has been an imposter, which kind of makes a bunch of characters seem kind of stupid since they weren't able to figure it out. It makes Batman, Amanda Waller, and really anyone else who thought that kind of dumb, since he was able to pull off stealing someone's identity for a full decade, since about, I think, 10 years passed between the events of the game's Asylum, Origins and Night. So it's maybe 9 years that he's able to do it, but he is still referred to in the GCPD lockup during the events of Night as being Floyd Lawton, even though it being retconned now that he wasn't, which of course is a retcon, but it just kind of makes everyone look kind of dumb in, when looking back. And even though, that Deadshot wasn't that well developed, he was kind of like, failed at the end of Arkham or Arkham City, this quest, but his Origins quest was fun. And that boss fight in Blackgate was also fun. And it kind of felt like a wasted opportunity. Now let's go over the two Arkham City DLCs. Actually, I'll go over the Batgirl one quickly, since that technically takes place chronologically next. And with the Batgirl DLC, I think that's probably the second best one. Again, done by WB Montreal, which you may not have known, or the people who did Origins. It's probably the second most unique one, where you play as Batgirl. And in it, instead of, doing stuff, you have to go take on Joker, voiced by Mark Hamill, which definitely makes it great. And while going against Mark Hamill's Joker, you team up with Robin and see what is almost certainly her last mission as Batgirl, because presumably the night after, she is shot by Joker and has to become Oracle. But that's just really, my best guess. And that's probably why they let Joker escape at the end, because it's trying to do kind of the Killing Joke in a little bit of reverse, with her saving her dad, but after being shot. And really, I think that it's such a good story, and there's a bunch of hidden details about the story of the park and how a father made it for his daughter who had a terminal illness and eventually died, but was manipulated by Harley Quinn, who acted as a friend, to create this park for the Joker. And then he was really convinced to kill himself by Harley, and I haven't streamed that part, and I'm probably going to have to do it on a separate one, since specifically that part of the game, it crashes every time I load it now on Steam, so I have to figure out that problem. I'm probably going to be removing Night from active play on my Steam account right now, so I could save up some room. Maybe really download Battlefront 2 on there. I needed to remove some stuff because it was at low space. I keep some of the smaller games. The one I'm always going to keep on there is Origins, since that's the one I could play uniquely out there, since I have the DLC on there, which I don't have on any of the other ones. And with the other story-based DLC, looking at it, there's some other interesting stuff. We're now going to go to Arkham City and go over the Catwoman one quickly. The Catwoman DLC, it's an okay DLC. It's not the best one that you could get, but it's also not the worst one. I think it's, a nice add-in and part of the story, and I love the dark ending you get in the one mission. But honestly, I always hate the part where you have to go and steal the keys, because typically you could, if you make one smallest mistake, then you have to restart it, which happened a few times in the night DLC for me. But also, same thing here. Also, Catwoman is probably my least favorite playable character, because I think that she has the most annoying fighting style, and with stealth it's a lot more annoying with her, because there's less places to hide, and you have to go on the ceiling, which if you start taking people down in certain areas, really restricts your movement, since unlike Batman with the gargoyles, as long as you, get them down quickly, they might mine it, but as long as you have the disruptor, you're able to disable those mines, or you could just, avoid those, but you still have plenty of places to go. But really, you can't do it that much with this, and that's really one of the only problems I have with Catwoman, is I feel like she's the most annoying to play as. But that's just my opinion, and I wonder what you think. Going on to the Harley Quinn's Revenge. Honestly, I like that DLC. It's a fun DLC. It's probably number 3. Definitely with it being the first time you can play as Robin, but personally I just think that I like other two DLCs, the Mr. Freeze and Batgirl ones more, but that's totally up to you. And now let's go to the Arkham Knight DLCs. We'll go over them briefly each in chronological order, and then go after, the benefits and drawbacks of all of them together since they are similar. So starting off with the Harley Quinn DLC. It's another good DLC. It's fun, but as I'll say with many of these, just to go over the problems with them right now, they're all just a little too short. They don't have too much happening in them while you're watching them, and really it is mainly the problem. If you play them, they take about 20 minutes each, maybe a little more if you're having a little bit of an off day. Besides the Catwoman one, which I would talk about specifically on its own, but that's just some of the things I have to talk about. That's been their main problem, that they're just a little too short, but specifically going into them, I think that that's mainly their main problem. They're just a little too short, but besides that, I think that they're pretty good and fun. So I'm going to start with the Harley Quinn one, which I think I was mostly mentioning before, but it's almost certainly the most unique one. You play as Harley Quinn. She does loud takedowns instead of silent takedowns, making stealth a lot harder to do. And she also has like her psycho mode, which can be used to take a lot of damage to people and take them out, I think, instantly. You also get a unique Nightwing boss fight and learn what was happening immediately before Arkham Knight, as Scarecrow was gathering his forces, trying to recruit Poison Ivy, and how people who were enemies like Harley Quinn and Penguin started to work together and try to take down Batman. And of all of them, I think hers and Red Hood's were probably the most interesting and game-changing. The other ones, stayed pretty similar to the characters, although they were, kind of set, with Harley Quinn and really Red Hood being the ones that had the most to change, since you've never seen them in the protagonist role, since they were both antagonists, with Red Hood being Arkham Knight, which you could get is a skin of, so you could play the entire thing as Arkham Knight, or Harley Quinn being really just a villain that you fight. And with it, yeah, I'd say that they're probably too much intriguing, but the next one taking place actually is Catwoman. Ooh, and this is the one I hate the most. I never like doing this one because the final Catwoman fight is so annoying, and doing the Riddler key, getting the 3 keys, is also annoying because sometimes you can't really notice with your thief vision, as it's called with her, that there are people there and they'll spot you while you're trying to get up to the last key to go and activate the thing, which makes you restart. There was a time that I couldn't see someone even though they were directly below me with the vision, or see them at all, and I fell down on top of them, making me having to restart. So, and I just don't like it. And that part's pretty easy compared to that final fight, where you basically have to stay, counter, do like a single punch, and stay in place, so you don't fall into electricity and die when you get towards the end of it. And you basically just have to get very lucky to hope if you do a takedown that you don't get stuck in lightning, though in the electrified area, because if you do, you lose a lot of health since you can't move at all. And I think you lose like a good amount, and since you don't have any, armor bar or anything, well, that's just really, really annoying. And personally, it's probably my I think that's the worst DLC out of all of them. That's because it's so annoying and you have to stay in like one place. But let's go over the rest of the DLCs. And up next is the Red Hood chronologically. And ooh, that's a fun one. With it, you get to go, you fight people, you can insta kill them with your guns. I think it's, a very well crafted story, although it is kind of short. I kind of wish it was a little longer, but I still enjoy it and think it's fun. And I really do have a fun time playing that DLC. I think it's very well done and really when playing, although it is short, it is interesting and unique to be able to basically insta-kill anyone that isn't a bulletproof thug, making things a little more interesting in combat, since now you don't have to go and be all strategic, you could just literally snipe everyone, and fighting Black Mask is a nice boss fight, although it's just, kind of generic, it's just, you punch him, counter the guys when they're behind you, and that's really it. But personally, I still do enjoy it. And really, I think that it is, I'd say like a little more than Harley Quinn's DLC. And it's, ranking up there. But it's definitely behind these bigger and longer ones that I mentioned earlier. The thing is, with most of these, there is, let's see, there's Catwoman, Harley Quinn, Red Hood, Robin, and Nightwing. There's 5, and they take you each like 15 to 20 minutes to beat. If we average it at 20 minutes, you have like maybe an hour and a half total between all of them. And that's the thing about the time it took me to beat the Backroll DLC. And it took me even longer. I think a little bit over 2 hours to beat Cold Cold Heart and the Harley Quinn's Revenge. And that's really, the weakest part of it, that it takes so fast. And they really combined, really make it towards one of those longer and more fun ones. Going to the last two. Yeah, I think if we talk about these together. Nightwing and Robin DLCs. They're, okay. Not as annoying as the Harley Quinn one. I mean that's kind of easy. I'm not talking about the Catwoman one. And they feel, they feel like, the most pointless ones. Not really changing anything. Not showing anything since it seems like the two heroes haven't really changed at all. Really, if you think of it, Nightwing and Robin probably have no real development in these, although Red Hood doesn't, and Harley Quinn doesn't fully. You at least get, a different story with them not doing what they typically do. But on the other side, you really don't get too much from everyone else. And they're okay. You fight Penguin as Nightwing and Two-Face as Robin. The DLCs, like, personally, I don't think they are, let's say the best storyline you'll ever get. But they're still fun and enjoyable, and I like playing them. And thinking of Nightwing, I think honestly what could have been a cooler feature is if, like, Harley Quinn's Psycho mode, when you play as Nightwing, if you could get the ability to, instead of taking his, you could get like the stun sticks in his sticks built in. And the way I think it would work is, you'd like try to electrocute people, and it would be built up over time. So I think that would be, probably the best way to do it. At least that's what I think. I think that would make him a little more interesting. If you get, build up and then for a few seconds, maybe like 10 seconds, he would get to be, no one can actually punch him. And all of his punches will knock people back onto their backs. And I think that would be a little more interesting way to do him. But that's really what I think. I wonder what you think about that. And Robin. I feel like, yeah, again, nothing really happened. Although he is fun to play as, it's nothing too unique. But that's really what I think of all of them. And if I was to rank all of these together, let's go from first place to last place. We'd go Cold Cold Heart at the start, like I said, followed by the Batgirl DLC. Then it would be the Harley Quinn's Revenge. After that, I would say it would be the Red Hood, Harley Quinn, then the Catwoman Arkham City DLC. Then I would say Arkham Origins Blackgate. Then I would say the Nightwing DLC. Then the Robin DLC. Then I would say the Catwoman is last. And really, I think that's a fair way to do it. Because I think, if you look at the rest of them, there definitely is, some problems. And all the Harley Quinn and Red Hood ones are short. They're still fun. And one of the reasons like the Nightwing and Robin ones are there is because I feel like, kind of nothing really happens in them. Nothing, too unique. But I think it's just too fun to play as Harley Quinn and as what's his name? And as Red Hood. And that definitely helps them up. But yeah, really, I think that, personally, that's probably how I'd rank them. I may change it a little if I start thinking of it. Maybe the only one I'm thinking the most is maybe Arkham Origins Blackgate goes over the Catwoman DLC from City. But I think because just of that unique ending alone, where everything is, the dark ending, that just pushes it just over Origins Blackgate. And since it's integrated so well into the story, I'd say, yeah, because I think most people naturally just think that the Catwoman DLC is part of the game and usually forget that it is DLC. I think it's probably the most impressive part done by them in this. Yeah, and I think that, at least that's one of my favorite parts of it. And yeah, I think that's really it. That's all I have to really say. Looking at it, them all, yeah, they're all fun. And personally, I always love everything in the Arkham series. I think they're all, at least good games, usually great. And the DLCs are about the same. Besides that Catwoman one, I just really hate doing that Catwoman DLC. It is super annoying. But that's just my personal opinion on that one. And that's really the only part of it I hate. I'll be going over Assault on Arkham soon. Maybe next week or the week after. And I'm definitely going to be reviewing Knights of the Old Republic soon too. I don't know when I'll be doing that. This is probably the same thing next week or the week after. So look up for those two videos and more. But also tell me what you think of the Arkham franchise. I definitely enjoy it. I wonder if you do. And I'll see you in the next episode of Legends and Theories. Thank you for watching this episode of Legends and Theories. Please like the video, leave some comments, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends. And may the Force be with you.